Welcome to On the Record HVAC Conversations, a series presented by acprosite.com, your Florida-focused HVAC news and resource platform. I'm AC ProSite Managing Director Peter Montana, and in this series we sit down with the people shaping the HVAC industry to talk openly about the challenges, opportunities, and real-world experiences impacting our trade. These are candid, practical conversations focused on workforce development, technology, regulation, business growth, and the day-to-day realities of working in HVACR. No hype, no sales pitch, just informed perspectives on the record. So let's get started. Today I'm here with Keane Bismarck, who's been really a cornerstone of the HVAC industry in the Tampa Bay area for many years. He's been, as well as being the executive director of RACCA. And when did you become executive director, you said, Keane?
April of 1987.
1987, great. Well, I understand that you're retiring this year, or have retired, so I wanted to thank you for taking the time to meet with me and discuss a little bit about the apprenticeship program here, which you have been such a big part of since its inception. So I think I'd like to start with what originally motivated RACCA to launch the apprenticeship program, and when?
Well, what would motivate any apprenticeship program, and that's training. We've been sorely vacant of technicians for years now, and it was no different back in the 80s and 90s. Yeah. We had a tremendous need in the industry for skilled workers, and as a result, I was approached about establishing an apprenticeship program that would be sponsored by an Air Conditioning Contractors Association, in this case RACCA, for the Tampa Bay area, so that we could get on with the business of trying to train and put skilled workers in the workforce in the future. And so that's what kind of drove it to begin with.
And I understand that was around 1996?
Yeah, it was 1996 when we started the program. Yeah, I was approached by actually a coordinator for apprenticeship with Pinellas Technical College. Back then it was called Pinellas Technical Education Center, but today it's Pinellas Technical College. And I was approached by a representative from them, and also the Department of Labor, Florida Department of Labor regional apprenticeship training representative. The state no longer has a Department of Labor, but all of that was shifted over to the Florida Department of Education a few years later.
Okay. All right, and what were the biggest hurdles during startup, either regulatory or administrative? Yeah, what do you feel?
There really wasn't any hurdles to begin with. It was a matter of pulling a committee together in our organization, RACCA, and setting up a committee to decide what direction we wanted to go. Where would our training best be applied? How much did we want to do? Did we want to just stick to residential? Did we want to add commercial in? Did we want to get up into refrigeration and industrial? So it was just sitting down and determining what the program was going to look like when we were finished. And so we did that. It took us several months, and we had the help of the folks here at the college as well as the Department of Labor representative. And we had to put together standards for the program. Every program, registered program, has to have its own set of standards that follow the guidelines of the U.S. Department of Labor for apprenticeship. And so we worked on that for several months before we were able to apply to the state and to the federal government for acceptance or approval as an apprenticeship program. But we had to put together a curriculum and dot all the I's and cross all the T's first.
And you used, as I understand it, you had two tracks for education at that point, for the apprentices could go down?
Actually, yeah, we started out with a 3-year program, total of 3 years for folks that were wanting to become journey persons in the service sector of our industry, service technicians, and also refrigeration mechanics. And we offered both of those opportunities early on. It morphed into a brief situation where we tried to separate out installation from service on the HVAC side. And that didn't work out well. Most of the folks that went into the installation part, after about a year, they didn't want to do the other 2 years. They wanted to become service people. And so we abandoned that, and we rewrote our standards, and we went to a 4-year program for HVAC with special emphasis in the first year on installation and air distribution systems, airflow, and then picking up the regular initial 3 years that we had for service. The refrigeration mechanics stayed the same, but we recently did away with the refrigeration mechanic portion of the program.
Well, that was an interesting, innovative way to handle that. For putting that where the students really had both sides that way through your course. When did the program peak, and have there been any major fluctuations in enrollment over the years?
I would say, I believe the program probably peaked somewhere around 2006, 2007. We probably had about 130 students that year enrolled in all 4 years of the program, including the refrigeration portion. Since then, we've averaged basically around 110, 100 to 110.
That's great.
Each year. And generally speaking, we'll have somewhere in the neighborhood of anywhere from 18 to 25 or 26 people graduating each year.
Yeah.
After the 4-year commitment.
That's fantastic. What about are non-RACCA members allowed to have technicians attend your courses?
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, we can't. But
Is that right? That's required
by
by
federal
state?
law. We
Okay.
can't. No, we can't deny any. That would probably fall into antitrust violations. But no, it's open to all contractors, regardless of their affiliation with RACCA, the association. Right. We do provide some discounting on tuition to members of the association. Right. However, it is open to all contractors that want to participate in the program and their employees.
Have you had much participation by non-members?
Oh yeah.
That is good.
Oh yeah.
All right, great. That's terrific.
I would probably classify it as 60 or 70% are RACCA member firms that participate in the program, and the other 30 or 40% are non-member firms.
That's great. I wish it was more of an incentive for them to join the associations personally. But
me too.
But it's a good thing that they do that. Now, if I don't know how much things may have changed over the years, but if another association asked you about some information, say how to start a program, what would you tell them first?
Well, they need to contact the Florida Department of Education, the Apprenticeship Bureau there. And they'll probably put them in touch with the regional ATR. ATR stands for Apprentice Training Representative. Mm-hmm. So that's their representatives, the Florida Department of Education's Apprenticeship Bureau. That's their representatives in the field. And they can get the process started if an organization is interested in starting an apprenticeship program. They can provide them with shells so they can get started on setting up their own standards and stuff like that. It's interesting. We, as a Contractors Association, are the program sponsor. It's basically our program. Right. We determine the curriculum. We determine, we have a lot of say in who is hired as our instructors. We're obviously not looking for professional educators as much as we are looking for people who have experience, real world experience in the field to be our instructors. People that are well seasoned out there and have seen a lot of things we have found become our best instructors. But it really behooves us to, and that's the hardest thing, is to try to find those kind of people that are willing to come in here a couple of nights a week, 7, 8 months out of the year, and make that kind of a commitment, because most of these people are still out there actively involved in the industry and working jobs during the day. So it is quite a commitment, but we search long and hard for the right candidates, and we feel that really makes the program for us.
I know that through the years you've had quite a few, or at least I would say quite a few that complete the program, go through, and they eventually turn to teaching the students. It's kind of a payback for what they were able to learn.
We have many apprentices, many come to mind, that I've seen over the years, because I've been here since the beginning. I helped write the original standards and was the executive director of RACCA when we started it. I did retire from that position back in 2014, but through a special contract arrangement with the board of directors of RACCA, I continue to be the administrator of the apprenticeship program. It was kind of my baby, but it's time for us old guys to get out and let the newer generation come in and spark some new life into the program and bring the newer, more innovative ideas into it.
Yeah.
No, it's been a fun time, and I've enjoyed the teaching part of it too. So,
is there anything that you can say that to make things easier to get apprenticeship programs going and staying on that maybe the state can do as far as I don't know, regulations? Like you say, they seem very helpful in establishing and setting up the programs, but are there any particular hurdles or anything that on that side that you feel could be done to make it easier to do?
I would say that any group or organization that wants to establish a program needs to get contractor involvement. You need that right from the get-go. When you put that committee together to decide which direction you want to go in the program. Another thing that we decided on, besides curriculum, we decided that we wanted the program to be to our aim, our mission originally, and to this day remains, that we're going to train the workforce for residential and light commercial. We don't go beyond that scope because 70% of the workforce in our industry works in those two categories, and that's where our biggest need is. I mean, we can impact the most skilled people in the field. We can provide a bigger impact by sticking to that than to try to say do heavy commercial stuff, chillers and things of that nature. And it gets even harder to find people to instruct in those areas too. But having the contractors involved right from the get-go is one of the necessary things, because they're going to help you decide which direction the program is going to go, what you're going to teach, what curriculum you're going to use. We use modern refrigeration and air conditioning, the textbook, the workbook, and all the resources, and that's a phenomenal teaching system to use for our curriculum. We've been very happy with that over the years. But having those contractors to have that input, and then you find that many of them get so wound up in it that they're volunteering to be the instructors to begin with, So that's kind of a help too, for you to be able to find people, because these are people that helped you put it together, and now they want to see it go, and they become very interested in it themselves. But having contractors involved right from the beginning is very, very important, and is a big help and asset.
Yeah, I've seen in some areas of the state that some of the contractors and associations are reaching out to high schools and starting programs at 11th grade, 12th grade, as far as opening up not just air conditioning, but the trades in general. I think there's a trend going that way, which is needed.
Yeah, there's a pre-apprenticeship level that can be certified or registered, I should say, and that gets them, captures the young minds while they're still in school, before they've actually gotten out there, and develops an interest not only in our trade, but electrical and plumbing, and a variety of trades that have apprenticeship out there. What's really interesting is we can train people that work for contractors. We can train employees for companies that are involved in plant maintenance. Let's say you've got a big hospital. As long as that employee is going to work on HVAC 8 hours a day,
Oh.
2,000 hours a year. That's his full-time position. He's not fixing leaks and drains and replacing light bulbs and stuff like that. But if, as a plant maintenance employee, if he is doing nothing but air conditioning, we can accept that company in. The only thing we can't accept in is educational entities, the school system themselves, the colleges, any kind of governmental agency. They all have to have their own apprenticeship program. We can work as a learning partner. They can send them to us to get the classroom portion of the training, but they have to have their own program, their own set of standards. They have to keep all the paperwork, all the history, all the
that's not your. That's
all
not
the red
your,
tape has to reside with them because they set their own standards.
That's interesting too. I didn't have that insight, not having been as involved as you are, but that could be helpful to other people to see this video. So, I guess the last thing I'd like to ask you is how do you feel contractors can attract more people to the apprenticeship program, or how, if you have any thoughts on that department? I know because you've looked at it from both being the executive director of an association and also director, handling the apprenticeship program.
Every year, all year long, I get phone calls or text messages or emails from people who have visited RACCA's website. They see the program being offered on the website. And there's other ways they find out about it as well. But they're interested in HVAC because a lot of people are very concerned about where their future is.
Yes.
And with AI and all the other things going on, a lot of them are thinking some of the jobs that they might be interested in doing today might disappear down the road. But people are always going to need to be comfortable. Machinery and computers always need to be cooled and dehumidified.
That's right.
And during COVID, we were an essential trade that was allowed to continue to operate on a daily, regular basis. So there's always going to be a need for what we do. Yes, technology is going to change. It has changed for us tremendously, but there's still always going to be that need for comfort cooling and for refrigeration and pharmaceuticals and all of that stuff that goes with cooling and preservation, perishables, all that stuff. So we're uniquely positioned in that regard, and I think that has people thinking about the fact that this is maybe a trade or a skill that I want to learn or get into. So all year long, I get calls almost every day about people who are interested. The first thing they need to do is they need to find an employer that'll sponsor them in a program. Because we have apprenticeship has an on-the-job training component that you have to satisfy on an annual as well as an hourly basis. So you got to be working 2,000 hours a year in the trade, and that employer becomes your mentor and gives you the opportunity to practice the skills out there on the job site that you're learning in class at night.
There's a lot of sacrifice on both sides.
So there's a lot of interest out there, and quite honestly, sometimes it's difficult for us to keep up with it. This year we had to run waiting lists on first and second year admission to the program, and it's because it's because we're limited by the space, by the equipment we have, by the instructors. We don't want to put 50 people in a room with one instructor, because that's not a good training or learning experience, and we soon burn the instructor out real quick. So, I mean, we try to keep our class sizes to about 15 in a class. Sometimes we're capable of putting a few more than that, but that's where we're at. So that it kind of limits us in size and scope, and for one person to do the administration, it becomes almost unmanageable to go beyond that as well. So without having additional staff under them.
Yeah.
So.
Well, your program, it's in good standing throughout the state. It's got a great reputation. And I'm going to wrap this up really by saying thank you for the thousands of men and women that you've impacted and the hundreds of contractors over the year that have benefited from your devotion.
We turned
to
out
being
some
in this.
contractors.
You have done an amazing job, Keane.
And you're right. Many of our instructors, I can name 3 of our instructors right now who are graduates of the program many years ago and have come back to pay their dues.
Yeah. Well, I want to say thank you and good
You're
luck to
welcome.
you in your retirement. It's
All
been a
right.
pleasure
Thank
knowing
you.
you and all being here. Thank you.